Welcome to my channel. In this video, let's write a program to reverse a number. For example, if the user enters the number 123, the output should be 321. As you know, this number will be stored as an integer in the memory. So it is not possible to split each of these digits easily like in strings. So we have to handle this mathematically. So when you want to reverse this number 123, first you need the digit 3. How can you get this digit 3 from the number 123? You just have to perform a modulo operation with 10 so that you can get the number 3, right? So we now have the number 3. Now we need the number 2. When you have 123 as such, it is quite difficult to get the number 2. Since we already got this number 3, let's just try to remove 3 from the entire number. If we do that, we will be left with 12. With 12, we can easily get 2 by performing a modulo operation, right? So how can you remove 3 from 123? You just have to divide 123 by 10. If you divide it by 10, since the numbers are stored as integer, the last digit will be dropped. So you will have the result as 12. From 12, if you again perform a modulo operation, you can get 2. Again, you can divide 12 by 10 to drop the digit 2 so that you will have 1. If you again perform mod, you will have 1. You just have to do these steps repeatedly, performing modulo and dividing by 10. If you do that, you can split the numbers easily. So it's not just about splitting the numbers, we have to merge it. So when you have 3 and then 2, how can you make it as 32? You just cannot simply merge these two numbers because they are not characters to merge. You again have to handle it mathematically. So you can multiply this 3 by 10 and add 2. You will get 32. When you have 32 and the next digit 1, you just have to do the same thing again. 32 into 10 plus 1 will give you 321. No matter how many digits you have, you just have to do these things repeatedly. Let's now write the program. So you need an input variable to store the input number and then another integer to store the reverse. You can just put a printf statement asking the user to enter a number and scan that number, store it in the input variable. So first step what we discussed was to find the modulo of the input, right? So let's find the modulo of the input mod 10, and we have to store it somewhere, right? Let's store it in the reverse itself for now. So now you have stored the last digit in the variable called reverse. Now you can divide the input by 10, right? Input equal to input by 10. How long can you keep dividing the input by 10? What is the end condition here? You will have 12, then 12 by 10 will give you 1, and then when you have 1 by 10 will give you 0 point something, which will be 0, right? So once you have reached the last number, if you divide it by 10, the answer will always be 0. We are dividing the input by 10 and storing it in input itself, right? So we just have to run the loop as long as the input is greater than 0. If it becomes 0, then there are no more digits. So as long as the input is greater than 0, we can run the loop. Okay, now this will work just for the last digit. What about the second from the last digit? When you come to this point, now this reverse will have 3. If you just have this, then the 3 will be replaced by 2. We don't want that to happen. We want this 3 to be made as 32. So in order to do that, we just have to add this to reverse into 10, the previously calculated value. That's it. But since we have this reverse into 10, initially for the first time, the reverse might have some junk value. We have to initialize it. If we initialize it to 0, then this term will be 0 during the first calculation. So it will just be perfect. Let's initialize reverse to 0. So you just have to print the value of reverse after this. I have written the exact same logic here. Now when you run the code and give 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you get the reverse as 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can find the link for the complete program in the description box below. Thank you for listening.